Amatip IT. We believe in transforming people's lives from low income to high income, from bad business to profitable business, and from no job to a high-paying job. We believe in making financial power easy to obtain by following proven principles. The way we transform people's lives is by challenging the current informational landscape to provide creative solutions, coaching, and mentoring services designed for transformation. And we happen to produce great professional UI/UX design courses. Do you want to join us in the training program now? Come with me.
Welcome back to this UI/UX design professional course powered by Amatip IT, an IT company based in London, United Kingdom. We are in introduction session of this professional course, and we are in part 4 of the introduction section, in which we'll be talking about the UI/UX design process. In the previous part, we have talked about product design, what UI and UX is, and why do we need UI and UX design. And now we'll be talking about the UI/UX design process. And for you to have a good understanding about the UI/UX design process, I will be using this short story to tell you and to explain what the process is all about to you. Okay, so back then in the olden age, there is a village where these 3 guys are living: Mr. A, Mr. B, and Mr. C. And there is a king in that village, which is a very powerful king, which is a wealthy king. But this king have many children. He have 500 children, and each of these children, all of them, they have moved to different parts of the world. This king really like his children. He want to be communicating with his children. He want to be see his children, but all of them, they are not living with him in the palace. So he's looking for a means, a way of able to see his children anytime he wants, to talk to them anytime he wants. So he called on these 3 tech guys to ask them if any of them can provide a reasonable solution based on their skill. This first guy, the Mr. A, is a programmer, a very good programmer, proficient in different programming language, while Mr. B is a front-end developer. He can do the front end of any app or any mobile app or any website. And the last man, Mr. C, is just a UI/UX developer, a UI/UX designer rather. Okay, and these 3 of them have the same problem to tackle with their skill. Mr. A is very good in programming language. Straight away he told the king that he can provide a solution. He can write code and the likes, in which once he prepare the code, he will handle over the code to the king. The king will use the code and the likes in order to be communicating with any of his children on any part of the world. This look fantastic. The king was amazing. The second guy did not know what to do. The Mr. C also don't know what to do. So it seemed like it's only Mr. A know how to solve this problem because of his programming skill. So Mr. A go ahead. He promised the king that he will come back in the next few days to give him the solution to the problem. And after the next few days, Mr. A have prepared a bunch of code like this that the king can use to be communicating any of his children from any part of the earth. So he put the code on the king computer, explain how the code will be running to the king, that okay, we have put all the name of your children in this code, and we have connected the code to their location and the lights. Anytime you want to communicate any of them, you have to come to this area in the code and you have to type Python. Okay, let me change it to small letter. Python. Then you have to type IR play book that contains the name of all your children. Then you click on the enter, and the code will ask you something, and whatever the code asks you, you have to provide so answer to the code. The king practice this, and you can see the code is asking us now for the name of the children we want to talk to. So let's assume one of the name of the king children is log J4, log 4J, and you now press enter, and once you press enter, it will show you the city where your children is. You can see this is the city, and you will now copy the code that it provided, and you will now go to a place like this and you paste the code, and you come here and pass, and it will now show you your children. You can now be seeing where your children is. That's all. Wow, the king partially happy because at least he able to see where the children is, he able to see the children, but no communication. He's just seeing them. Okay, the king was happy with the solution, and he awarded a grant for the guy. He gave him, let's assume in today's world, he gave him 500,000. But this guy decided to be collecting the money like monthly, in which the king promised to be giving him 50,000 each month, which the guy is collecting. But the problem is that whenever the guy go home and the king want to use the app, is either the king press one wrong thing from the code and the code will not work again, and the king will need to send somebody to the guy, to Mr. A, to go and call him to come and do the code again. So it's now a matter of maybe in every hours or few hours the king need to send somebody to the guy to come and do the code again. So it look frustrating. At the end of it, the king press some wrong key in the code stopped working, everything stopped working. It was frustrating. At the end of it, the king is not paying the guy any money again. At that process, this front-end developer is going on developing the front-end of that can solve that kind of problem, but doesn't know how to write the code for it. And after he developed the front end, because he know that the king cannot use the code because of the level or scale of the code, the level of scale of the king in tech field, he decided to develop a front end for the solution and hire somebody who is programmer to code the backend of the program and hand over it to the king. The king saw that particular solution as a better one against the code one because it look like this. Look like this. You just tell the king that anytime you come to the app, you can see the list of all your children. You can just click directly on anyone you want to see.
No plan to get to the final.
And you are seeing your children already. This one look more fantastic than the previous solution provided by Mr. A, which is programmer. And with that, Mr. B win the contract because the king rejected the solution, the previous solution from Mr. A, and adopted the new solution from Mr. B. And it promised to be giving Mr. B like 200k per month instead of 50k that is given the Mr. A before, because his own solution is stress-free, no problem of code is not running again, just to open the app and see every children and click on anyone directly.
Entertainment and more.
So just a minute. Yeah, Mr. C, at the process where two of them are taking their own cake, the programmer have run out of business, the front-end developer Mr. B is the one in the business now collecting cash from King every month. At that process, the Mr. C, which is UIUX developer, is on the recharge process. After it have moved around the world during the research that if this type of problem is happening, what are the way of solving it, how can we solve it better, how can we provide a lasting solution, how can we go about it that the customer will actually happy. He's doing meeting with the king to know why he rejected the previous solution, why he liked the previous solution, what are the limitations he's facing with the Mr. B solution, and what are the things he would like to see in the solution that will make him more happier and the likes, and what are the ways to go about it. He went back on with the research, draw out, sketch out the different solution, go back to the king showing different solution, that what if it look like this, what if it look like this, and at the end of it they arrive to a particular one that the king actually love most, like this one. Like, okay, you just need to hold this device and call on the name of any of your children, and you will see there and you can be talking to them like this, and the king actually admired this solution more than the Mr. A and Mr. B solution. And guess what happened next? The king called Mr. B that I think we cannot do business together again because I have a better solution than yours. So by next month I won't be able to make any payment to you. You can come and pack your solution and go. I have a better solution. And the king welcomed the new solution from Mr. C, in which the king is now paying Mr. C 500k per month for this solution. And that's it. That's the end of the game. Now, the first two professional, Mr. A, which is programmer, and Mr. P, which is front-end developer. The programmer runs to the market without the front-end development, giving a raw code and the like to the king to be using, which is frustrating him, is frustrating the king, because the king is disturbing him every time that he's supposed to be busy with doing another thing. He have to go and solve problem that the king is facing with the code. The front-end developer goes straight to the front-end development of the page without carrying out any research or know the king interest, what the problem, and look deep into the conceptualization of the problem at hand. Go straight to the front-end development and hire a programmer to do the back-end for him. Yes, he win the market from Mr. A and even gain more money than Mr. A, but he is unable to sustain that market because Mr. C took his own time to follow the necessary UI/UX design process for that problem before he actually produced the product by hiring a developer, hiring a hire a programmer and hire a front-end developer in order to produce the prototype that he produced from the UI design process that he undergo to produce his own solution, and he end up making more money and sustain the market because the solution provide everlasting sustainable solution to the king problem. Okay, so let's now look into the process that Mr. C undergo in order to achieve this successful business. Now I'll break this process down into 5 stages. The first stage of UI/UX design process is the research phase. The research phase, this is where you need to carry out user research, and if we are carrying out user research, we have different strategies, different methodology that we can adopt. You can use user interview, you can use survey and questionnaire, focus group, and different methodology like that. But when we get to the section, to the next section that we'll be discussing in the training program, how we will be breaking all this down into pieces for you to have a clear understanding. But as introduction to this section, we are using this one to let you have idea of what we will be discussing in the future classes. So these are the process, starting from the research, the user research, the product you want to design. You are producing it for a particular audience, you are producing it for a target market and target user. What you have to carry out research on those users to understand their pain, to understand their own design of your product, of your own product, because the user design of the product must be the same with the actual design of the product. Once that is different and the user is not satisfied with the product, definitely you lose the market. Okay, if the experience is not smooth, it's not good enough, you lose the market. So how do you carry out a professional user research for your product? You will learn it practically in this training program. Then competitor analysis. You can see we have 3 competitors in the case of the king problem, and the Mr. C able to analyze the problem and the sources of the competitors with the Mr. A and Mr. B, which give him proper information on what and what not to what to produce and what not to produce. Also, you need to do your market analysis, the stakeholder interview. In the case of the king is the stakeholder, the one that want to use the product, and the children, they are also the stakeholder. So the UI UX designer also undergo this process at the first phase. And once he finishes those phases, he have gathered some information, some idea on the problem, and this idea can now be taken to the second phase by proper filtering and sorting of the information idea gained from the research phases. Then at this second phase, which is design phase, there is where all those information idea we have gotten during our research phase will be useful. And at this stage, we will be design our information architecture, in which we'll be doing the sitemap, navigation design, content strategy, wireframe, and the likes, and where we will be producing our low fidelity wireframe, high fidelity wireframe, prototype, clickable prototype, interactive prototype, visual design, style guide, branding, UI design, and the likes. So each of these process we will be passing through the process together, because you are now part of the organization as an internship, in which we will be involving you in a real life project that we'll be doing together, and this will start this project from the beginning together. Each and every one of us will start our project from beginning together, so that you can see how all these things look like in a real life, in an industrial space, so that you can gain the practical knowledge that you need to be successful in this area of specialization. So after a successful design phase, then we can move to testing phase. And at this testing phase, this is where you are testing your prototype, you are doing the usability testing, the moderate testing, the unmoderate testing, A and B testing, accessibility testing, performance testing. Your prototype must be successful in all this testing before you can now make decision to go into production, to go into development, to go into implementation, which is the fourth stage of the production. But you can see in the case of Mr. ABC, the Mr. A goes straight to me for the implementation phase straight away, jumping the research phase, jump the design phase, and also jump the testing phase, because he know programming, he understand programming, proficient in programming. He went straight to development. He even jumped front-end development straight to back-end development, writing code and the likes, prepare rough interface for the program, which made the solution difficult to use for the user, for the king. Okay, same thing with Mr. B, but a little better than Mr. A. Mr. B actually developed a good front end, like a front end that's easy to use for the king, but not actually solve the king problem. But Mr. C passed through all the necessary process by go through the research phase, undergo the design phase, testing phase, before move to the implementation phases. And after implementation phase, where he hand over the prototype he produced and that have been properly tested, so he hand over it to the front-end developer, then the back-end developer. Both of them work on it, then they produce the product. Then the products will hand over to the king, evaluate, get feedback from the king. It is certified, it's not certified, and he also give room for iteration. Iteration simply means the process of keep on improving on a product. But a product that you don't have any design for before, it will be difficult to continue improving it, because you don't have where to go back to go and check, okay, this is wrong, this is how we do it before, and this is how we should do it now. So with that, after implementation stage, we move to evaluation phase, and this evaluation phase is a continuous process. Let's assume your product is good this year. By next year, you should carry out another evaluation and see, by getting feedback from your user, analyze the user behavior, analyze the performance, and see what you are missing, and you will understand all this process from different tech industry. For instance, let's use PowerPoint that we are using now as example. At initial stage, when PowerPoint was produced by Microsoft, it is not look like this. If you remember, Office 3, Office 7, Office 8, gradually they are making improvement, iterative development approach to their product to make the product more better. But in this UI design, you must base all your decision on fact. That is one of the stages that we are going to next. That is why, what is the difference? What is the difference? We discuss what is the difference between the normal UI designer and the professional one. When we get there, you will understand more about this concept that we will be discussing. But for now, let's stop here. I hope you have a broad overview about what the UIUX design process is all about by now. And in the next class, we will be moving to the next stage that will show you the skill that you need to become a successful UIUX designer. Okay, till then, see you in the next video. Thank you. Goodbye.